Tammy, can you shut those doors behind you? Tammy, can you pull those doors shut? Bye, kids. Have fun in class. You do have green gum. I like that green gum. You want to walk into the wall. Alrighty. So over songbooks, turn to page 31. He hideth my soul. Page 31. I know I've said this a dozen times, but almost 40 years ago, where our church, at Canaan Baptist Church, right after Canaan, I got saved. Probably that Christmas, we were going around, and we took the bus, and they said, let's go to some of our seniors and go sing for them, like we do now. We still go to a couple of seniors' houses and sing Christmas carols, and whatever songs they want to sing. And we went to my grandmother's house, and she was, I don't know, 95 years old or something like that at the time. And she said, and we sang a couple of Christmas songs, and the pastor said, I heard Miss Jenkins, what song would you like to sing? And she said, He hideth my soul. Do you know that one? And everyone looked at each other. And nobody knew that. I didn't know the song. I hadn't been saved very long. I've been in church all my life, but I hadn't been saved very long, and I didn't know that song. So every time I sing this song, I think of my grandmother. You have a song you think about with your grandmother or grandfather or something like that. There's a song I think about with think of my grandmother with it. Page 31. You can stand if you want to, or you can remain seated, whichever one you want to do. You want to stand? Okay, those of you who are sitting home, Jim Summers, if you're watching, Patsy, make Jim stand up, okay? Here we go. A wonderful Savior is Jesus my Lord, a wonderful Savior to me. He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock, where rivers of pleasure I see. He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock, that shadows a dry, thirsty land. He hideth my life in the depths of his love, and covers me there with his hand, and covers me there with his hand. Now, if you two will come up here, we'll sing a duet, the two of you. No, not me. I'm not going to join you. The two of you just sing. Okay. Okay, page 31. He hideth my soul, on second verse. A wonderful Savior is Jesus my Lord. He taketh my burden away. He holdeth me up, and I shall not be moved. He giveth me strength as my day. He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock, that shadows a dry, thirsty land. He hideth my life in the depths of his love, and covers me there with his hand, and covers me there with his hand. Last verse. When clothed in his brightness, transported I rise, to meet him in clouds of the sky. His perfect salvation, his wonderful love, I'll shout with the millions on high. He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock, that shadows a dry, thirsty land. He hideth my life in the depths of his love, and covers me there with his hand, and covers me there with his hand. Thank you. Have a seat. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Does anybody have a spoken prayer request? Okay. Pray for those that are traveling today. Church family traveling this week. Kathy's boys. Keep Patty in your prayers. She's a trooper, but just keep her in your prayers, right? Zach Griffith's family, his 13-year-old boy lived in Morcott, passed away this past week. Keep that family in your prayers, and their obituary they put in the paper was tremendous. It was a test. His whole life and their whole life is a testimony. We know some of the family, which is really good. and Kermit Boyce's family. Keep them in your prayers. I think Tracy went to school with you. Okay. Anybody else with a spoke? Marie? Okay. Okay, Lowell's supposed to have stints put in on Friday. Okay. Can you check and see if I can come up and see him tomorrow night? He'll be home tomorrow night, or we'll be in the hospital tomorrow night. Okay. 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 If I can go in, or if I can come up to the house tomorrow night, if he's going to be home tomorrow night or something like that, I'll be glad to stop in. Okay. Just let me know for sure. All right, anybody else? He's one fell and broke his hip. Okay. Very good. Anybody else? Anybody with unspoken requests that we want to pray about my future? All right, let's go. Jerry, you lead the prayer. We're going to the book of Daniel, if you will. Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7. Anybody got testimony before I get into this? This will be just like Sunday school or any Wednesday night. If you have questions or comments, fire away with your questions. I may not answer them. May not have the right answer. But some people say, I have an answer, but it might not be the right one. Daniel chapter 7. Read. I'm not going to read anything without my glasses. I just read the first 3 verses and stop, and I'm going to kind of review the story of Daniel and where they're at. What's that set at? It's set at 74? Or is it set at lower than that? So, one set at 70, set it down at 65, maybe we'll kick on. Make sure they're both on cool. This ain't warm as it. 74, you like that in the wintertime, right? Okay, I mean, someone touched it last week, because Dave Kasdorf would never do that. It's never supposed to be on the wrong different numbers. Let's go to cool and make sure both sides are set the same. Don't set, both of them set at 70 would be great. Okay. Okay, there you go. Now the new electrician has broken. Okay, very good. Okay, we'll cool down a minute. I'll stop sweating. I thought, what is this? Okay. Daniel chapter 7, look at verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. And then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matter. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of heaven strove upon a great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. Stop reading right there. I want to review something, and then we'll get back to this. I'm going to review who Daniel is in this part of the story, and then we'll go back to the history for a minute. Daniel was born in Judah and was taken away into captivity as a teenage boys, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, different ones, were carried away into Babylon. And Nebuchadnezzar, which was the king of Babylon, after they'd been there a short period of time, had a dream but couldn't tell the dream. He couldn't remember what the dream was. He wanted his astrologers to come in, his magicians come tell him the dream. They couldn't do it, but Daniel could. So Daniel came in, told him what the dream was, and also told him the interpretation of the dream. Nebuchadnezzar's dream was that he saw this image. He couldn't get this dream. He couldn't remember what the dream was, but he couldn't get out of his head that it was bothering him with that he'd seen this dream. He couldn't think what it was. So he saw this image. It was just the form of a man, and then but the image had different metals, made of different metals. The head was of gold, the shoulders of silver, the midsection of brass, and then the legs of iron, and the feet of iron and clay. And when Nebuchadnezzar, the king, most powerful king of the world at this time, when he saw this dream, and Daniel came and interpreted and told him what the dream was, then Daniel gave him the interpretation of the dream. He said, that image that you see is God telling you what the kingdoms of the earth are going to be like. The world empires, there's only 4 different kingdoms in the history of the world that have ruled what is all the known world at the time. And he said, the image of gold, that's you. You're the head. This is Nebuchadnezzar. This is Babylon. This is the first image. So when he saw this, and Daniel's interpreted to him, he said, the first one's Nebuchadnezzar, is Babylon. Then the Medo-Persian Empire, which is kind of separate. Man saw it as Nebuchadnezzar saw it as the fineness, the greatness of the earth, like gold and then silver and then brass. And it's deteriorated iron on the legs as it goes down, and iron mixed with clay when we get to the feet. So as man looks at the kingdoms of the world, he sees the elements of the world, or the fineness of the greatness of the world. So he saw brass and silver and these things. And Daniel interpreted Medo-Persian Empire, Greek Empire, and the Roman Empire on down to the legs, and then the last part, which is yet to come. Supposedly, in our terminology, yet to come. So when God gives Daniel a dream, he shows him something different. Okay, so Daniel now, it is after Nebuchadnezzar has passed, and Belshazzar is the king of Babylon, and during that period is when Daniel was given this dream by God. So we're going to look at the interpretation is the same. God's telling man what the 4 kingdoms of the earth are going to be like, the 4 world rulers are going to be like. Okay, so we're going to start at verse 4. We're going to look at this. Okay, what's this have to do with us? We'll tie it together with us in just a few minutes. Okay, look at verse 4. The first was like a lion. It had an eagle's wings. And I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. This is how God views the man, or the leadership of man that rises up out of the sea. Verse 2 and verse 3 talks of the great sea, that's the sea of humanity. So God sees the first kingdom as a lion, okay, with wings on it. But then the wings are pulled off of it, and it stands up and has a heart of a man and walks around on its 2 hind legs as a lion. Okay, that's the Babylonian Empire, the same as the head of gold that Nebuchadnezzar saw. The second world empire was Medo-Persian Empire. And behold, verse 5. Behold, another beast, a second, like a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise and devour much flesh. So look at this way. So this first empire was a lion with wings, and the wings are plucked off, and it stands up, walks like a man, has a heart of a man. But the second animal is what? Jennifer, what's the second animal we just read? Verse 5. A bear, right? It's a bear, right? Okay. But he devours the first one. Okay. He's got 3 ribs in his mouth, and I can picture this. I can remember watching Grizzly Adams too many times as a kid. But I picture this bear eating this lion, man, and he walks around with the ribs in his mouth. Okay, and he rises himself up on one side, which is the Medo-Persian Empire. One side of the Medes and the Persians, one side was stronger than the other. Okay, so we'll go on to the next one. Okay, verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which is quick, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. And the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. This is the Greek Empire, okay, which was led initially by. Go into the history of this for a few minutes. You have the Babylonian Empire that was replaced by the Medo-Persian Empire. That's replaced by the Greek Empire, which took over like a leopard, went real quick, which took over real fast. But it was led by Alexander the Great. And by the time he was 28, he said when he was 28 years old, he said, I have no more worlds to conquer. He had conquered all the known world by age 28, so he died at that age, at a young age. But God's view of it is as a lion with wings and moving real fast. Okay. Okay. Let's look down. Look down to the next one, which is the next. We went through the head, the shoulders, the midsection, and down to the legs of the man, and now this is the fourth empire. After this saw in the night vision, and behold, that fourth beast, dreadful and terrible. Doesn't compare it to the animal specifically. Dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and a great iron teeth, and it devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Stop reading right there. So the Greek Empire, which after Nebuchadnezzar, after Alexander the Great had passed, was divided basically into 4 different kingdoms, and that's why it had 4 heads. And then this next beast comes on, and then you can't compare it to a lion or a bear or a leopard or anything else. It's got great iron teeth. I don't know how to describe this thing. And it just destroys everything in its path. Okay? And this is the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire was different than the rest because they would just conquer, and everyone. The previous empires would conquer the nations around them, and everyone would just kind of give in, like Nebuchadnezzar took people from different nations and languages and brought them to like a college viz so they could learn his language and go back out and be his type people. Okay, which didn't really work so well for him, but that was his plan. The Roman Empire just marched through, taking over everything, stamping out everything in its path. Okay, it's like burning the bridges behind you, trampling over everything and leaving nothing left behind you. Like a poor man that Scripture, Proverbs use this. A poor man that steals from another poor man leaves absolutely nothing left. Okay, that makes sense. So that's the way the Roman Empire was. If they came into a town or a village or whatever, the first man that they would come, they'd crucify him or hang him up in a public square and kill the first person and say, okay, y'all give in or we just completely trample over everything. If any enemy that stood against them, they just marched right over them and kept coming until they devoured everybody. Okay? Like a scorched earth policy, like politicians have. To destroy everything behind you, just keep moving forward, like locusts on the ground, to completely devour everything. Okay? When I read through these things, and I've read this over and over again through the years, but it never hit me this way. Look at one more thing, verse 24. I want a couple more things about the Roman Empire, and then we'll get back to this. Okay, look at verse. Okay, the Roman Empire is kind of divided up into 10 different kingdoms. If you get down, it's like the first image Nebuchadnezzar ever saw had 10 toes, and okay. Verse 24 says, "And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first, and shall subdue 3 kings, and shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and a dividing time." Stop reading right there. And the final kingdom of the Roman Empire. What was the European? What was the 10 nation group of European like came out with about 10 years ago? What was the name? European 10 nations joined together. What's England trying to get out of right now? Politically speaking. Does anybody watch CNN? Fox News? CNN want to report it. All they got is a hate Trump. What is it? European, what is it? European EU. European Union. 10 nations joined together as one, right? Okay. Let's wait in history. If the rapture didn't occur first, we'll see this. That they, hey, no talking about rapture. Skip it. I know. Let's wait unless the rapture occurs first. Let's see what happens with England leaving. Okay, see if there's one It's just there's one nation that rises up and destroys three of the others. Okay? Because this will be in the midst of our time period right here. Okay? During this time period, I think the rapture will occur and every Christian will be gone from the face of the earth. But at this time, let's see what happens when we look into not like a crystal ball looking in the future. We'll just see what's going to happen. Okay. But the distinguishing thing about the Roman Empire, because during that time the Ancient of Days will show up. Look at that. Okay, let's back up verse 9. Let me slow down a little bit because I'm leaving gaps. Okay, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Look at verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down. The Ancient of Days, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow. This is Jesus, the God. And the hair of his head was like the pure wool, and his throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels of burning fire. And fiery steam came forth before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open, and this is God judging the nations. Okay. Now we won't get into this too much of this prophecy of God judging the nations, but it's written here, and it's also written in the book of Revelation. But this is 40 years I've read this, and it never hit me till this time. When man looks at the dominions of the world, he sees the gold, the silver, the brass, and the iron. When God looks at even though he sets up these kingdoms, he told Nebuchadnezzar. Remember the story of Nebuchadnezzar? God took his mind from him and let him out in the woods, on the yard, eating grass like an ox for 7 years. He said, I allowed you to have this kingdom that you have. When man looks at it, we look at the greatness of what man has, gold, silver, or whatever it is, the power that man has. When God looks at it, he looks at it, though he loves people individually, when he looks at the nations, he looks at them as beasts, okay? Like a lion, or a bear, or a leopard with wings, or something that Daniel looked at and said, I have no idea what that is. It's like hippopotamus or rhinoceros. I have no idea what that thing is. And so when God looks at things, he looks at it completely different than what we do. The outcome is the same. In the vision that Nebuchadnezzar saw, a stone was rolled down from a mountain and not cut out with hands as God sent it down, and rolled down and crushed the toes of the great image that Nebuchadnezzar saw, and all the image just kind of collapsed together. Okay. In Daniel's vision, the Ancient of Days, Jesus comes and destroys all these kingdoms at one time. Okay. We read that in verse 22. The judgment is given to the saints of the Most High. Let's back up a little bit, because we think of what a great power. Okay, what's the most powerful nation on the earth? Are we? Is the United States the most powerful nation on the earth? How many think it is? Anybody? Everybody? I think China's more powerful than we are. No? Jamie says no. Jared's kind of doing the dog in the window thing. Do what? Red, white, and blue all the way. All right. What about Russia? Most powerful? They thought they were until they realized we got more gas than they do. Right? And they can control the gas prices, and Saudi Arabia can control the gas prices, but we got more here. We don't need them. But doesn't China have the most people? Right? Then 90 pharmacists, does not 95% of our antibiotics come from China? Yeah. Probably all of our masks and rubber gloves come from there, right? Who set up these kingdoms? Who set up the kingdom, the United States, where we are now? Who set it up? It's not really one like a king. Our founding fathers wanted to make George Washington a king, and he refused. Okay, who set it up? Our Constitution. Who gave us the Constitution? Who set up the kingdom? Did God set it up? Who set up the Chinese government? Who set up the Russian, the Soviet Union? Huh? Money. We look at it and say, okay, it's the money. Or Mao Zedong, or whatever guys like China, or Stalin, or whatever. We look at the historical leaders, or the money that bought this nation or controls this nation, and God looks at it and says, it's just a beast. And so in Psalm 9, he said, I just want those people to remember they're just men. They're like dust. It's going to be blown away. or like their breath is just like a vapor in the morning when you got blow, vapor disappears. Okay. What was the comment back there? You want to? Okay. Don't get Marie in trouble. Okay, here's the next question. If God set up all these kingdoms, then he can take every one of them down, right? Can he take down America? Sure he can, right? I think it was Sunday night. Sunday night's message was like when the psalm was saying Asaph was just begging God to do something. All he wanted God to do was speak. I just want you to speak. I just want you to do something. Just speak up, okay? Can God take down China in a heartbeat? Can he destroy us? There was a message. Jerry may have watched this message. I watched it on the internet one time. A preacher about 10 years ago that said, when you read through the book of Revelation, you don't find the United States there. You see the mother of harlots there, the great whore. You see Israel there plainly. You see pure religions, not pure religion. You see all the religions come together as one. You see different things in Revelation. In that message, and I've heard questions about that before that and after that. Where's American history, and in the future? I mean, where's America standing? That are we going to be here, right? Do we get to determine that? Do we get to decide that? In the message here, did you watch that message that was on, and they showed on the screen that a nuclear blast, right? So if a nuclear blast, and this came up during start of the war on terrorism, what all happened, all those nuclear warhead things is over in the Middle East, and they all disappeared. And they could all, if they all came here, if they're all pointed here, the United States would be gone in about 7 seconds, right? I mean, if they all hit here at the same time, I mean, Hollywood can make great movies about the day after, and great movies about this, that thing, after what we're going to do afterwards. But the truth is, if they all hit, then we have nothing about. You look at Revelation and say, yeah, there's an eagle. I've heard this preached before. There's an eagle that lands and takes people out of Israel. That's the United States, right? That's the only emblem or symbol we have, right? Maybe that's us. Hopefully that's us, or we're still around somewhere. Rapture occurs, it won't matter, right? If the rapture would occur right now, which I think is what happened before the end of the world, not this judgment that's going to come, because in chapter 7, verse, I think chapter 7, verse, look at chapter 7, verse, what's right verse? Look at verse 13. This is the judgment when Jesus comes, okay? I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days. That's when Jesus comes to his Father, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him, and they were given him dominion and glory and kingdom, and all people, nations, and languages should serve him. And his dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. Verse I was looking for. Verse 22. Until the Ancient of Days came, the judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. So look at this word. If I read this right, I know I'm skipping around these verses, and it's like mental gymnastics in my head right now. If I'm reading this right, the rapture will occur, and God's going to set up a new kingdom, okay, the millennial kingdom, and God's going to say, you guys get to reign, okay? You'll be in charge. I'm really in charge, but you get control, okay? You get to lead. My people, and people are not going to be worshiping you, but the gold and the silver and the brass and the iron, all that stuff's not going to matter, okay? How are you going to lead? I'm going to give you judgment over these other people. Our pastor in Indiana was dreadfully mistreated at one point. He was in a store, I think it was a clothing store, like a JCPenney type store, or their main downtown department store. And he said, look, when the Lord comes back, I want control. I will have control over this city, and you will serve me. And they said, what? You talking about? And he ended up witnessing to people, and all people got saved at that point. But the truth is, he said, I'm going to run this the right way. And people were like, what are you talking about? Okay. But let's back up. If America is wiped out, nuclear blast, whatever, the rapture occurs, we're all gone, whatever happens. When I read about man looks at his gold, silver, brass, and iron, and God looks at it and just says, the nations are beasts. He loves individual people, right? He sends us out to be a witness to lost people because he died to redeem us. Before he formed you, before he formed you in the belly, he knew you. He created you for a specific purpose. He loves you individually, specifically. But he looks at the kingdoms of the earth and says, they're just beasts. And they will devour each other. I had a conversation with a customer today. He said, it's kind of funny. He thought, like after 9/11, he remembers this. He was younger. He said, after 9/11, I thought a nation would come back as one. And you think with the pandemic, we come back as one. He said, but given the opportunity, every blue state governor and every red state governor will fight against each other. And the politics of it will be worse because of a pandemic when you think you'd go all together. You look back at our history, there was comments made of infighting politically back during World War II or during the Great Depression. There was infighting, but the truth is everybody was on the same side, right? If our nation will be destroyed, it'll probably be destroyed from within. My thinking, okay? And this customer that I was talking to today, he said we're in trouble because we can't come together on something like this. What's pandemic? And he thinks it's all politically. First 2 weeks of okay, shut the nation down. We flattened the curve. Let's go back to work. Now it's politically. We can't everyone go back to work until after November. Okay, we'll shut this down for 6 months. Then it won't be working. Okay. If America is judged, if our nation is judged, not individually, because we all stand before God individually, it's going to be judged by man's view, gold and silver and stuff. It's going to be judged by God's view. Are we an eagle? Are we a bear? Are we like we've been accused, our nation has been accused of being like the Roman Empire that trampled over everything in our way. We have not, in my understanding of history. How will we be judged? Then it comes down to a personal thing, which I think of often. I think of this probably daily. How will we be judged individually? I think of it as our nation. I pray for our nation. We're commanded to, I think. And I read through the Psalms, and I read where the different psalmists, not just David, but Asaph, different ones, their psalm is a song to God to bless their nation. And we ought to sing patriotic hymns and patriotic songs. We ought to pray for our nation and all that. But then our nation will be judged. But then individually will we judged. How will we stand? Will we stand by the gold and silver? Or will we be judged by these things? Or will we be judged just like a beast for what we've done? For what's been given you? What do you do with what has been handed to you? Any questions? How will you stand? If you're okay, in witnessing the lost people, and everybody, as far as I know, everybody listens to my voice is saved. In witnessing the lost people, I always ask this question: if you die today, do you know for sure you're going to heaven? And people, you don't got yes or no answer. I know I'm going, I don't know I'm going. If you don't know, then I'm going to show you how you can know. You trust Christ as your Savior. But every Christian, I think, if you die today, how would you be judged? By what has been given you, what has been placed in your lap. With Moses, it was a rod placed in his hand. What have you done with the rod that's been given you? Okay. Everybody in this room has a talent. Well, John, I don't know what my talent is. I don't know what my talent is. Sometimes I try to figure it out. I know it's not singing. I've been told that. But what is your talent you've been given? If you stand before God and be judged by Him, how will you be judged? By the stuff you have? I don't think so. By how good you did your job? The world judges you by that. Okay? If He could take down these nations, nothing. That's by voice. If He could take we went through this a couple weeks ago. Nebuchadnezzar's grandson was having a party and drinking wine in the goblets that were meant for the temple in Jerusalem. And he saw the handwriting on the wall, meaning many temple you farson, your days you've been waiting to balance and found wanting. Your days are numbered. They come to an end. Tonight's the night. He died that day, okay, that night. If we were to die today, as a Christian, how would we stand before God? Well, look how good I did. I don't think so. What kind of beast are you? Okay? Oh, beast. Okay, not a beast. Okay? Our God measures man by a standard divine, for he sees underneath every outward design. He looks past possessions and costly attire. He studies the heart, every thought and design. Our God does not judge by how tall we may stand, or how much we possess, or the rank we command. His gaze goes more deeper to things that endure. He honors the man that keeps his heart pure. For the eyes of the Lord are searching to and fro. We have no secrets that our God does not know. Our Father knows our thoughts. He understands every part. Man sees the outside, but God sees the heart. We judge by what's in our heart. What's in our heart comes out through our mouth. I mean, the world judges by what we say, but we'll be judged by what's on the inside. Okay? But John, the only way I can stand before God clean is through the blood of Christ. Right, every one of us. And the only way we can stand before Him clean is through the blood of Christ. But then everyone has been given a gift. What do you do with the gift? You say, well, that's nice, I'll put it on the shelf. I don't want to put it on the shelf. I want to use everything I have. Okay? I had to buy a new tool a couple weeks ago. Jared jokingly said, those farming tools aren't supposed to last forever, right? Right? My hoe wore out. It's not 50 years old or whatever long, I haven't had that thing forever, right? And I would rather wear it out than for it to rust out, right? There was a guy in that church in Virginia who had 200 guns. I never saw them. He was just, the story was given to me. He had 200 guns in his basement, but it was a basement of a damp, it was a damp cinder block house, damp basement. He had 200 guns in his basement that were all rusted up. Okay, he couldn't fire any of them. I mean, he had a couple guns upstairs, still went deer hunting, stuff like that. But he couldn't use anything that he accumulated. They were just there, set on the shelf, and rusted up down his basement. And Stonewall told me about it. Why did he do that? I would rather burn out than rust out. I'd rather use everything I had all the time. This morning I woke up and thought, dang it. Later on, I slept in this morning. She said, how late? I said, it was after 4. Well, really, for me, that's sleeping in. It was, I don't know what time it was. It was well after 4. I said, did you not set the alarm? Usually because I set the alarm for 4, and usually I'm up before 4 because I have so much to do. I'd rather burn the candle at both ends. Well, it makes a nice flame. Yeah. I'd rather burn the candle at both ends and use everything I got. Okay? For His glory as much as I can. I was in a bank last week, and there's a girl that grew up in Charleston area that works out of town, and I found out when she was talking to her one day. I found out where she's from. I said, if you ever want to send something home to your mom, okay? Really? You would do that? I said, you grew up 5 miles from my office. If you want to send something home to your mom, or if you want to order something from our catalog salesman, if you want to order something from the catalog and have it come in, I'll take it to her house. Okay? You do that for me? I said, okay, anything. Okay? Why? There's something inside of me that says, I've already witnessed her before she goes to church, or I know she grew up in what church she grew up in. There's something inside of me, I'll take everything I have and use it. All right? If we died today, if the rights were occur right now, we were to be judged. Have we used every tool we have? Okay? Will we be like a beast tossed aside? Or will we be like a crown to Christ? And say, look what He did. Look what I did through Him. Put it that way. Okay? Any questions? Comments? Do you have a talent? Are you using everything you have for God? It's got a great idea. Kathy just bought a brand new Chevy 2500 in a camper that's 31 feet long. I think she ought to use that for God. Let the preacher borrow it. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Okay. What do you have? Okay? Our nation will be judged. Okay? We'll be judged. Hopefully we'll stand right. Okay. Any questions? Comments? Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for loving us. Help us be Christians, God, to be in every area of our life. We want to bring honor to you. I pray that you use us. Use us as a church family. Right? We had the Bible school for last month, and hopefully we can pull this off and have a great Bible school. And I don't know how many families we can reach. We want to reach families, and we don't want to scare families by having it. We don't want to run people away. Them think we don't care about their kids, and all we do is really care about the kids. I pray that you use us for your glory. Everything we have, we give it to you. Direct us, please. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. Thank you, dismiss. Thanks for coming out tonight.